So I had a couple of questions from the last wine tasting about the service of wine and why I use different glasses and when should I use them. Also on decanting wine, so I'm going to pick those up in this week's tips from the Cellar. So here I've got a selection of Riedel glasses. So Riedel make different glasses specifically for different grape varieties and different styles of grape varieties. So I'll talk you through these. These are by no means a be-all and end-all, and it's well worth experimenting with different glassware and see where you get to. So people often ask me, I mean, does it really make any difference what glass you use? And I think it does, and there's a few reasons for it. One of the most important parts is the top of the glass. So the width of the top of the glass will define where it delivers the wine onto your palate. And we know that we taste different flavors at different points at the palate. Fruit flavors more on the tip of the tongue, savory flavors on the side, things like tannins on your gums, acidity and spice at the back. So yeah, that is really important, where it delivers the wine onto your palate. The one that people maybe pick up on the reason more frequently is the width of the glass. So that gives you the surface area in contact with the air. Now the amino acids in the wines are the flavor compounds, and they react with the oxygen. So if you want to aerate a wine a little bit more, as you know from decanting, you can go for wine with a wider base. That's a good reason to select that one. Also, you've got to think about the aromas of the wine here. So here in this Riedel Riesling glass, we've got a really thin funnel. And this is important because volatile aromas are things like fruit aromas. So they can escape really easily and they can get lost. So if you drank something really fruit forward in a glass with a wide top like this, then you might lose some of those beautiful aromas. But here it concentrates them and directs them into your nose so you can really pick them up. So that's the reason for the Riesling glass. So any white wine which doesn't have much oak aging, that's fruit forward, things like Sauvignon Blanc, Riesling, floral styles, Albarino, really good in these sort of styles of glasses. The next glass I have here is an oak Chardonnay glass. So yeah, it does what it says on the tin. The oaking of Chardonnay gives it more savory qualities. We know those flavors of vanilla and smoke and toast and butter. They do much better with more oxygen through them. So we've got the more surface area here in the glass, but also delivered to the side of your tongue where you can pick up more of those flavors. Of course, you can bypass where the wine's delivered onto your palate by swilling it around your mouth, but we won't always drink like that, of course, unless we're really thinking about the wine. Here we've got a Pinot Noir glass. This is called an extreme Pinot Noir glass. And here it's kind of a combination of the two that we've seen, because we do want, for Pinot Noir, a lot of fruit flavor comes out, cherries and raspberries. So we do want it to be delivered fairly tight on the palate, but we can also have wonderful savory flavors too. So it's somewhere in the middle of these two for where it delivers. It also has plenty of air to get through to allow it to release its wonderful flavors and aromas. And look at that for the aromas. It lets them come out and then concentrates them back in. And finally, we've got an old world Syrah glass here. And I like this for a lot of different styles of red wine. Big reds that need, a little bit of oxygen, but also have some fruit quality. And we're going to be tasting Cabernet Sauvignon today. And I think that always has wonderful cassis and blackcurrant flavors. So that's the reason I picked it for today. A couple of you have also asked me about decanting wines and why I wasn't decanting the wines on the last tasting before I tasted. So decanting wines and the service wines. White wines, I believe, are really, really great to explore decanting with, especially white wines that don't have those floral fruit aromas like Sauvignon Blancs, Rieslings. They probably need less decanting, if any at all. But when we're talking oaked wines, oak Chardonnays, when we're talking wines with a bit more texture, Verdicchio, things like this, we're going to look at using a decanter. It's a really great thing to try. It really will improve your experience of the wine. Red wines, again, anything but a Pinot Noir, I tend to decant, or anything that's really low in tannin and low in savory flavour. So yeah, Cabernets, Syrahs, and you've really got to play around with each wine to see what the best level of decanting is. Certainly with the Cabernets we've got today, I'd recommend decanting those if you get a chance for 40 to 5 minutes. However, they have spent a couple of days in transit to you, so probably best to taste them first and then see if they need a bit of time extra in there. Now, the service of wines and temperatures is really important. So one of my key tips for people is to try serving your red wines just a little touch cooler than room temperature. So really easily achieved. Put them in the fridge 10 to 15 minutes. Just bring the temperature down 2 or 3 degrees. If you can get them about 18 degrees, of course it depends on the wine, but generally 18 degrees is a good level for a red wine. If you've got something a little bit lighter, Pinot Noir, maybe you've got some Cabernet Franc, then you can bring that down even a little bit further to about 15 or 16, and you really will see the difference in your red wines when you taste them a bit cooler. White wines, on the other hand, it's a bit more tricky, but you can drink them a little bit warmer and you'll find much more flavour coming out of the wines. However, the tricky thing is that the wine goes into the glass and then it warms up. So I tend in the restaurant to start wines a little bit cooler in the glass than the perfect temperature, and then I'm hoping that the perfect temperature is achieved by when the right dish comes out. So I'm looking around the restaurant at all the tables, thinking in my head, what temperature is their wine at?